Hello everyone, it's Leo, and it's time to talk about the second episode from Maho Shoujo Lyrical Nanoha Exceeds Gun Blaze Vengeance. I learned to love this name. Apart from the second episode, this is also the second video of the Cinnamon After Dark project. This is a secondary channel that I created to talk about other magical girls. I'm going to focus magical cinnamon to talk only about Precure, and all the other magical girls I want to talk about I'm going to do here on Cinnamon After Dark. So if you like the conversations about other magical girl shows, come join me here in this channel as well. So in this anime season, I am focusing on Nanoha, which is a magical girl show I really like, the franchise that I really like. And in the next one, I'm going to do Ray Earth and also the second season of Mahoiku, which I am super hyped. So let us talk about the second episode of Gunblaze Vengeance. I'm a little behind. I know, I think episode 5 is already out, but I'm gonna get there, I promise. Anyways, here is the episode. But before we talk about the episode, I want to talk a little bit about the opening. We heard the opening song in the first episode in the credits, but now we see like the full animation of the opening. The song itself is a very traditional Mizuki Nana battle song. I don't think it's particularly remarkable, but it is a good song. But I really like the visuals of the opening. We start with Kuze, and she is amazing. I'm very happy that she seems to be, getting together with the Exceeds, which is going to happen in the episode. And we have Nanoha and Fate as well. This was super cute. We also start seeing lots of new characters, which are also introduced in this episode. And I want to tie in the opening with the episode conversation. We have this character right here, which seems to be kind of I don't know if she's gonna be an antagonist. I'm gonna go deeper into that while I'm talking about the episode. But there seems to be certain points between her and Sheena, who is our main character in this season. So I think it's probably gonna be a Nanoha Fate situation, just like in the first season of Nanoha, I think. And it seems this is part of her past. Based on what we've seen in the episode, it seems that this world they're living in is very cruel for lots of reasons. And then we have those two characters which seem to be the real antagonists of the show. I really thought that this girl was going to be the antagonist. And I mean, I know that she would probably be on the side of the main characters up to the end, but it seems that they are already showing us the real antagonist of the season. And we also have these girls, which are very cool. I think I'm gonna love them. We have the drugs that are also introduced in this episode. And in this visual, we can see this girl right here and the hands that are probably from the villain that we see, this woman with green hair that we see in this shot. She's very cool, and she's voiced, we haven't seen her in the show yet, but she is voiced by Kirk Cosmo. So that's very nice. And as I said, I really thought that the red katana girl was going to be villainish at the start, but it doesn't seem it's going to be like that. She might be an antagonist, but the real villain seems to be this girl with green hair. Like, even the one that I thought was going to be the antagonist is already against her. So this is very exciting. We see some action shots with Nanoha and Fate. We see Hayate, which looks very cool. And we see Setsuna as well. Girl, I am suffering. I am still not over what happened in the first episode. I was really not expecting to be this tragic. And we see Sheena in action as well in lots of moments. She is very cool in battle. And now for the episode itself, before we talk about the event, I just want to say I feel like the first episode was an introduction to Sheena. And as I mentioned in my first episode video, I believe that sometimes in the Nanoha franchise, we had certain anime seasons that weren't focused on Nanoha and Fate. To me, they were disappointments. I did not like them. And this time around, it seems things are a little different because Sheena had a very nice introduction. I really like her character. I really like her story. Her story is very interesting, and I feel like this second episode was another introduction, which is the introduction to this world that we're going to spend some time with in the story of Exceeds Gunblaze Vengeance. And We also have the introduction of Nanoha and Fate in this moment as well. And I feel like it blends so well with this new world that we're coming in, and it blends so well with Sheena's story that I feel we're onto something good. They really sold me in the Sheena storyline. I feel like it's very good, and I feel like, which is something I missed a little bit on Strikers and on Vivid and Vivid Strike 2, the seriousness of the stories and everything that is happening right at the start of the season. You already feel hyped, you already feel curious for this world that they're trying to build. So this is very nice. And this is something that also kind of happened in Reflection and Detonation, the Nanoha movies, which introduced different characters, and it made us root for them, and it made us interested in them, even though they were kind of antagonists in a way as well. But it made us root for them. It made us want to understand their stories and see their stories until the end. So that is a good thing. I feel like Nanoha, the Nanoha franchise, sometimes tries to branch out to new characters, and I feel like the last few iterations are working. So I'm happy. And so we have the starting moment of the episode with Nanoha introducing herself. And Sheena's like, "Oh my god, you're so cute." And, "Oh, thank you. You helped me in battle, but oh, now you need to get somewhere safe. You're so small. You're so tiny. You need to get somewhere safe." And Nanoha's like, "Girl, I am an agent." I don't remember the word she used, but like, "I am an agent of the UN." And Sheena's like, "Girl, you're way too young. They wouldn't put you in any position on such a dangerous thing." And this was so funny. The timing of this was everything. And then Nanoha showed her the document that proves that she is really someone who is working at the United Nations. And girl, I love her signature. It's so cute. It's so like idol like. It's super adorable. And Sheena's like, "Oh my god, I'm shocked." And Nanoha says that she investigated what happened in the Sheena case prior to, contacting her. And she tells Sheena that she wants to contact her. The Exceeds want to contact her. And they want her in the Exceeds because her power is intriguing. There's something special about her power. And Sheena does not want to go. She says that she doesn't want to get involved with organizations or anything related to governments. And I can understand her. And, she just jumps in and she goes flying away. I can totally understand her in this situation because I feel like when you are someone, and not like she was a regular human, now she is a regular human still, but with Majin powers, which were her sister powers. And her sister infused her with her own powers, and now she has them in her. So she might be considered a danger. She might be considered a weapon. I don't know. So it feels understandable for her to be wary of what can happen to her. But it's very funny because Nanoha just goes right after her. And we have so many dialogues in this moment, and they are all so good. Nanoha is very insistent, and she tries to get Sheena to accept and go together with her. And Nanoha starts talking a little bit about her powers, and she calls the things that she does magic. And Sheena calls her a magical girl, and Nanoha's like, it's a little different for us, like the concept, but Sheena keeps on repeating it. And Nanoha even says that she comes from a different world, which is clear here that we're not dealing with our world that we live in, like our country, which is Japan, which is Nanoha's country, Japan. But she comes from another country entirely. And I feel like this is another world as well, because the world that Nanoha comes from, which is Japan, and the society, it seems to be a regular world and not a world that is being invaded by creatures, right? And so I feel like this is a way of Nanoha saying, "I'm not from the same place as you, but I'm coming in, and I feel like we are helping. We're trying to help this place right here," because in the Nanoha universe, they can help different planets and everything, because there's this interstellar force that can go in so many different places. And this is the setup of the franchise as a whole, right? And Sheena is very surprised. And oh, I want to talk a little bit about the detail on the hoodie that she wears that comes from Setsuna. And the hoodie was almost destroyed in the battle in the moment that Setsuna was killed. And it's very nice that it's all ragged when she wears it like this. Very nice. And just an observation. But she still didn't want to go. Sheena still didn't want to go. She even uses a little bit of her power to try and send Nanoha away. Nanoha never goes away. She just escapes because Nanoha is Nanoha, right? She is crazy powerful. But then we have invaders coming up, and both of them team up to beat them together. And it's interesting because we kind of have like this little combat scene at this moment. But the previous scene of both of them flying and both of them flying together and Nanoha going after her, it was so well animated that I felt it was way better than this action scene right here, which was very, very simple. We had lots of action scenes in this episode, so I feel like this one was kind of lackluster, and it is justifiable. It is impossible to, keep the quality on a regular episode like this. But it was just a little bit lackluster, especially if you compare it to the previous scene that came right before it, which was a lot of fun in timing, in the dialogue, and also in the animation. The animation was very good. And they were able to defeat the invaders that were there, and they were able to connect a little bit. But when they noticed, they were surrounded by many, many invaders. And we're introduced to a concept here, which is an invader's nest, which seems to be a place that they probably reproduce, and lots of invaders gather in the same spot. And then we have the weather changes, and it's like, is it Storm from X-Men? But no, it is the Queen from Nanoha. Fate has arrived. Oh my goodness, this was I was so happy with this. I love Fate, and she is extremely, extremely interesting. And she's one of my favorite characters from the NANOHA franchise. I love her. And she used Thunder Rage, and she defeated all of the invaders at once, girl. Fate is wild. And it's also interesting that she used Thunder Rage in this moment. Thunder Rage is a technique that she doesn't use normally. She uses quite a few times in the whole franchise, and she used it, I believe, in the first time that she used it was in the first season, or the first story, the first movie, and it was when she saved Nanoha for the first time. Like she was battling together with Nanoha for the first time, and she used it again here. I mean, Nanoha didn't need saving at this moment, but I don't know if it was a callback, but it was nice nonetheless, right? And then Fate arrives, and Sheena's like, oh my God, what happened? And then when Fate arrives, and she's like, oh, Fate is another magical girl, and she's so pretty as well. And Fate is all blushing. And then Nanoha says, oh, she's my best friend. They hug each other. Yes, queen. Cousins. And then both of them keep on telling Sheena to accept the invitation to come to Exceeds, and she ends up accepting, especially after seeing both of them battle, the way they battle, and the way they are kind people, right? She probably felt safe enough to go. But before she goes, she does the thing that she does with her hand to absorb the power of the invaders. We were introduced to this concept in the first episode, and it was nice to use it again because this is probably something that they're not going to forget in the show. And then we go to the headquarters from Exceeds, and we meet Hayate. I was so happy to see her. And in this moment, we are introduced to many new concepts, and I feel explanations of a few things that happened in the first episode. That's why I feel like this second episode was also another introduction, which worked in a very different way from the first episode. And I thought it was very nice. First of all, we are introduced to the concept of the Majin, or the Diaboli, which we have in the subs. Those are usually humans with powers from the invaders. This fusion, this match can happen in a way that goes by chance, or it can be by a meeting they had, or there's even the concept of drugs. People who use drugs on themselves to infuse them with the maging powers for them to be with the invader powers for them to become maging. And usually those maging, they lose control of their minds and they try to defeat other magings so that they can absorb them. This is what we saw in the first episode, basically, with that guy. That guy was someone who used drugs to become one, which is probably different than Setsuna. We don't know much about Setsuna's story. This is something they might touch on later, but I feel like this is a concept in a different way. She probably didn't use drugs in her to become a Majin. She became a Majin by chance, as it's explained. Maybe. We don't know, but that's what I believe. Sheena is very angry looking at all of the details, but they start explaining how it works and how people become stronger with this when they become Majin. And there is also another thing that is introduced here, which is the idea of the invaders. The invaders, they come to this planet and they stay there for a while. And the longer they stay, the more they grow, the more they evolve, the stronger they become. And this also happens with the nests that were introduced earlier in the episode. Usually, whenever there are nests, there is like this one big invader that becomes stronger and stronger, and it gets harder to beat. They're creating their forces so that those monsters can be defeated, but it's not that easy. And there is also another concept here, which is I don't remember the word, but it is like the originals, the first ones that arrived here. And those ones are ones that are even stronger than the other invaders that come after, like regular creatures. Those are the strongest ones, and they still don't really know how to beat them. But they were searching for someone who was able to use the power of a Majin without losing their minds and also being able to battle, being good in battle. And they found it in Sheena. And girl, Hayate's reactions in this moment when telling Sheena who she was becoming and how she was needed for the Exceeds was really something funny. I loved this scene. This was everything. And this moment was also nice because they were like, okay, so if you want to join Exceeds, we're going to talk about your payment, the work hours, the training, and the facility they're going to stay in and everything else. And like, girl, they're giving her a house, they're giving her a salary for a rogue fighter like her. Come on. It is really perfect. And she thinks about it a little bit, but she obviously accepts it. And the girls are very happy. We have Nanoha Fate being very happy and Hayate being very happy as well. And then we are introduced to more in this world. And we start seeing something a little edgier, I feel like, because up until now, we have a very sad story. We have a tragic sisterhood moment. But now we are going to see something that feels a little gory, and we see girls going and they're doing things. Like when I saw this scene, I was like, girl, what the hell are they doing? What are those girls really after? And it's not really something that is that hard to understand. And in this, we start understanding this moment. And I just wanted to make a little observation about this character right here, which is her little spider, because I did not notice the little spider while I was watching the episode. I just noticed it later when I was choosing the images for this. And so we are introduced to a few girls, few women, and they are after other people. They are attacking those other people. We have that one that was attacking a chef, this one that attacks a car. We have two other girls that are going after someone who seems to be important and powerful. And we have this other one that has attacked lots of different people. And at this starting moment, it feels like they are going after important people. It feels like they are going after people of power in a way, except for the first girl who was going after like a chef, like a regular chef. And I was like, what is she doing? But then it's easier to understand. When we get to this girl right here, she starts saying that she is after the drugs. The drugs are a concept that were introduced earlier in this episode, and we know that the drugs are used on regular people to infuse them with the power of the invaders for them to become Diaboli or Majin. And this girl is specifically after those drugs. And at the same time, we learned that those girls are not only after the drugs, they're also after restaurants that serve human meat for the Majin, which is also another bizarre concept that is here on Gunblaze Vengeance. And that is why that other girl with the little spider was attacking a chef. And now it is totally justified. Like, girl, slay. Keep on doing that, queen. But that's what was going on. And I found this so nice because it raised a doubt in our minds, and then it already gave us the answer. And it already introduces us to these girls, who they are and what they're trying to do. And we start seeing them in action. This was a very cool moment. And each of the girls has a different power. They all look super cool. And, the action starts. They are all in different ways of action. This lady with her red sword like this, honey, that was a slay. And then we start being introduced to them one by one. And each of them has her own power. And it's interesting because I'm going to mention their ages. So this is Yuzu Kodera, she's 13. And then we have Aoi Nina, who is 14. We have Shiori Aizawa, who is 20. We have my queen, Yuna Kitamori, who is 17. And then we have Towa Yorumi, who is 18. And so the oldest is 20 and the youngest is 13. It's very nice to see. I'm going to exaggerate, but okay, this is an exaggerated word. A diverse group, because it's not a diverse group exactly, but we have different ages in the girls, and I feel like they're going to give us different personalities as well, and probably stories and traumas as we saw in the opening. And I feel like this is going to be very interesting. And so we are introduced to this group. And as you can see, whenever we have the girls being introduced with their names and their ages, there's a crest here. And it says Demon Hunt. In the subs, it said Diaboli Hunters, which is Diaboli Hunters. Was that it? Diaboli's Layers. Diaboli's Layers, right? And in here we have Demon Hunt as the name of the group in the logo, and there's a very nice logo as well. And in this moment, apart from the cool powers that we start seeing from these girls, like this girl having a spider power with the little spider on her, girl, that was so cool. I loved it. My queen, like, she has very strong arms and she punches. Bring it on. She is gonna slay. We are also introduced to other things. Whenever we have Towa, she is killing other Majins, other Diaboli. And one of them asks her, he's like, you are a Diaboli as well. You're a Majin as well. Why are you after the, why are you after the drugs? You're like, are you a hypocrite? And she's like, we're not after justice. We just want to kill the Majin. And that's simply it. I feel like this group is going to be a very interesting one. They're probably not going to be morally correct every single time. I feel like this makes them even more interesting as characters. I hope. Obviously, this is just me saying right after seeing this in this first moment. And I don't know. I'm very excited for this group. I feel like they are a highlight of the season for me. And I think these first two episodes gave me lots of highlights. So I'm excited for more. And so we end the episode with girl. I was going to say Toa. Toa is her rival, possible future girlfriend. That's what I believe. Sheena. Sheena is in her room already. They even put a picture of her with her sister. Very sweet picture. She's very happy that she's in her room. She checks out the picture closely. It's very sweet. And we finish the episode with her imagining how her future is going to be like. Because defeating the invaders seems to be an easy task for her now that she got her powers, especially together with Nanoha and Fate. Right? This isn't going to be something big. Defeating those creatures is a piece of cake. But what if she has to go through battling another Majin? Well, her sister did in the first episode, and she was super strong. She still lost. She still got killed. And when she is saying this, we have a Toa image as well. Toa is looking somewhere. And so it's really clear that they want to create this crossing between those two characters. And it's also interesting because in a way Sheena is also a Majin, but she doesn't lose her mind, which seems to be the case for the Demon Hunt group. They don't seem to lose their minds that much, but there might be a downside of their powers. We don't really know. And then just to end, we have an ending, and the ending showcases the characters in like regular scenarios, which is really cute. Loved the song. The song was very, very nice. I think those images are nice because they show us Sheena living her life before entering Exceeds, which is what we're going to see now. And we didn't really have an amount of time to spend with Sheena while she was in the mainland defeating the monsters. It was very short in the last episode, in the first episode, and now in the second, we didn't even see it. So I feel like it's nice that they show it in the ending because we just get to see a little bit more of that. But we also see the other characters. We see the Demon Hunt group as well. Very nice. We see our queens, and we also see other moments of battle. And then we have the shot from the demon group again. And then we also have this shot from both of them. I feel like this probably is going to be Sheena's costume after she transforms, because the NANOHA girls, they do have transformations in a way, and we haven't seen it here, but we might see it. I don't know. This might be her transformated visual, and it's very nice that Toa has ice powers, it seems, because it's going to contrast, and it's going to create a contrast with both of the characters. This is just making me more and more excited for this story. I feel like it's going to be a very exciting one. Anyways, this was my view on the second episode of NANOHA. If you're watching NANOHA, you're probably farther than I am. But please be patient because I am going to be able to update everything, watch everything, and review everything. I'm just going a little slower because I was focusing too much on Cure Eclair. So this is also going to be something that is going to be a little like little steps, little steps, because I'm not trying to overwork myself either. Anyways, if you like this kind of content, if you like Magical Girls, if you like to discuss Magical Girl episodes and news, stay here in Cinnamon After Dark. Please subscribe. Please like this video. Please comment with your opinions. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye bye.